You know,
Oh,
that feeling, right? You're in a huge city, Delhi, maybe Noida, got somewhere important to be, an appointment, a flight, something crucial. And you just get that little knot in your stomach. Is my ride going to show up on time? Is it safe? Is it going to be, actually okay? Or just more stress?
yeah.
Finding transport you can really rely on, something truly tension-free, well, it feels like a bit of a lottery sometimes. So today we're doing a deep dive into a service, one that our sources, well, they make a pretty bold claim about. They call Prince Tour and Travel the king of taxi services in Delhi, Noida.
Exactly. And our mission here really is to unpack that claim. To go beyond just the headline, we're digging into the specifics, the actual details from our sources that back this up. Why do they say that? What makes this service potentially different for you when you're booking a ride? We want to find those aha moments.
Right. How does Prince Tour and Travel actually tackle those common travel headaches? How do they deliver what our sources call a smooth ride, an attention-free experience? Let's get into it. Okay, so that phrase, king of taxi services, that's
Yeah.
that's big talk, especially in a crowded market like Delhi, Noida.
hmm
What's the very first thing, the first detail from the sources that made you think, maybe there's something to this?
Well, the thing that immediately stood out, and it's so fundamental, is their approach to time. The whole time commitment thing. For travelers, especially there, it's often the biggest stressor, isn't it? Our sources give this really specific example. A pickup scheduled for 9 a.m. The driver, he rang the bell at 8:55 a.m.
5 minutes early.
Exactly, 5 minutes early. It's not just punctual, it's proactively punctual. It signals they're building in a buffer, right? Thinking about traffic, thinking about making sure the customer feels calm, not just meeting the clock. That 5-minute difference, psychologically, that's actually huge. It sets the tone.
Wow, 8.55 for a 9:00 a.m. Yeah, that's hell.
Mm.
It is a statement. It really speaks to prioritizing the customer's peace of mind right off the bat. But okay, punctuality is one thing. In a big city, safety. Security. That's massive. It's non-negotiable for many. How do the sources suggest Prince Tour and Travel handle that? How do they turn that potential worry into, confidence for the passenger?
Right, and this is where it looks like they've built a whole system, not just one thing. The sources talk about a multi-layered approach, almost like creating a sanctuary on wheels, if you will. They describe rides as 100% secure. Okay, strong words, but then they back it up. All drivers are fully verified. That's a big one. Takes away the who am I riding with anxiety.
Verification is definitely key.
Definitely. Then there's the vehicles themselves, clean and sanitized daily. That's hygiene, but also speaks to care, right? Plus, they're equipped with GPS tracking. So there's oversight, real-time monitoring.
Ah, the GPS tracking. Okay.
And the final piece, 24/7 customer support. So if anything feels off or you have a question, there's always someone to call. It's this whole package. And the sources specifically mention this as particularly reassuring for women travelers. It's about creating a genuinely secure feeling during the trip.
So not just ticking boxes, but creating an entire ecosystem of safety. That does sound different. But let's talk money, affordability. There are tons of options out there. Many say they have fair prices. Is there anything specific in the language, in the details from our sources, that makes Prince Tour and Travel's claim about pricing feel more trustworthy or different from the usual claims?
Yeah, that's a fair question. Trust and pricing are so linked. The sources use pretty direct language here. They say the fares are reasonable. Okay, standard enough. But then they add specifically they don't loot and that they take money according to service.
They don't loot. That's quite blunt.
It is. And I think that phrasing is insightful. It suggests a frustration, maybe, with practices elsewhere, like hidden charges or surge pricing that feels exploitative. By saying they don't loot and pricing is according to service, it implies transparency, fairness. It suggests they're thinking about building customer loyalty, not just making a quick buck. It positions them as maybe ethically competitive, not just cheap.
That makes sense. It's about the perceived integrity behind the price. That's definitely a differentiator. Okay, so punctual, safe, fairly priced. But what about the actual journey, the experience inside the car? Comfort, professionalism. What do the sources tell us about that?
Right, because getting there is only part of it. The materials we looked at, they do paint a picture here. Drivers are described consistently as polite and professional. That human interaction, it matters a lot, doesn't it?
Huge difference.
Yeah. And the vehicles, the specifics are AC, clean, and full comfort wally. So air-conditioned, clean, designed for comfort. And then there's this beautiful Hindi phrase the source uses, garjai sa sukun.
Which means,
It means comfort akin to home, like the kind of peace and ease you feel in your own space.
wow, comfort akin to home. That's a high bar for a taxi ride.
It really is. It suggests they're aiming for the ride itself to be a pleasant, relaxing part of your day, not just something you endure to get somewhere. An oasis, maybe?
Okay, I'm getting the picture for local trips. But you mentioned king of services. That implies more,
Okay.
right? What about longer journeys, airport runs, special trips? Does the king title hold up across different travel needs?
That's where their scope really seems to widen, justifying that bolder claim, perhaps. It's not just local hops. Prince Tour and Travel, according to our sources, offers a really extensive menu of services. They position themselves as more of a complete travel partner. We're talking outstation trips, okay, standard, but also dedicated airport pick and drop, and they specifically call out Delawre's IGI Airport,
Good to know.
then local rentals, tour packages, even corporate cab service. So covering business needs too. And here's something really interesting, a specific niche. They're listed as hill station and Shardam Yatra experts.
Ah, so specialized tours as well, like pilgrimages and mountain trips.
Exactly. That suggests real expertise in handling more complex, longer distance journeys, which require different logistics, different driver skills maybe. The sources even mention a specific positive anecdote about a trip to Mussoorie using their service. So it's not just a claim, there's an example of them delivering on these specialized trips. It shows a breadth of capability.
It really does sound like they've thought beyond just the basic A to B taxi model, more like a full travel solution.
Hmm.
Okay, so for listeners who might be intrigued, maybe planning a trip in Delhi, Noida, or even further afield, how do they actually connect with Prince Tour and Travel? What are the practical details?
Right, let's get that info out. The brand name, again, is Prince Tour and Travel. They're based at Noida Sector 22, and the phone number to reach them is 8750-465-270.
Got it. 8750-465-2780. So there we have it. We've really unpacked Prince Tour and Travel today.